have alleviated a lot of women out of, say, poverty, out of bad social conditions. So does the Dastkari Haat Samiti also have some kind of a section of it that works particularly on empowering women and uplifting them out of these situations?
Actually, no, because I've never claimed to be a feminist as such.
All
I
right.
don't focus program because I feel in our society we have to um, make the family feel one, because that is the culture. Within the family, you have to get the male respecting the female. So if the female earns, you can't make her sort of like in competition to the man. That will only bring trouble. But you have to lift her status so he recognizes her worth, realizes that she is a bringer of income into the family.
Right.
Then they start recognizing them also. So you know the mindset, you know the culture, but you work with them together. And I think that's been more important for me. When women's organizations have come, I definitely give them special attention and special interest, and um, buck up their confidence when they speak out. If they have to speak in public, I make them speak boldly. Even the Badohi basket who never lifted their head and always under gungat, I made them address a press conference. And one media person asked, Abhi aapko kaise lag raha hai? And she just said one sentence, but it was so significant. She said, Ab sab kuch hamare haath mein hai. Now that was a huge statement of empowerment, where
Yeah.
she felt that now she could control things in her life to earn her money. I'm sure they still give the money handed over to the husband, or at least they contribute to the son's education. Um, Sadly, now something like Manrega has come in, and the women again slip back into this patriarchal mode of saying, oh, my son will go and earn in Manrega, so I don't have to do these baskets. They'll still do it for themselves, but these are some of the flaws I see with the Manrega system. I wish they would focus on upskilling people who already have skills, particularly among women, with the Manrega funds. Otherwise, most of the time, these funds go to the boys in the family.
Right. Absolutely makes sense. So, ma'am, also, what we've realized as millennials or as members of the Generation Z is that sustainability is the new in thing. It's trendy and it's become this bandwagon that everybody just wants to jump on. Like, we want to say that we bought from sustainable brands. We want to say that we've brought from, say, we bought handicrafts. And so I definitely think that there is a future collaboration that should happen between sustainability and the handicrafts industry, but not so much in like big corporations. So what do you see? How do you see this relationship between sustainability and between handicrafts going forward?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned big corporations, because big corporations work on a viability and profit more than, say, climate.
Right.
So they will say we have green practices and so on, but for them, it also means adjusting their mechanization processes in order to perhaps be less polluting. But it also means lots of production, mass production through machines, because corporations don't deal with people who work with their hands. It's just too many to handle, they're too widespread. The organization to work with people with their hands is very tough. I mean, it takes me a lot of work for so many years to just deal with a few thousand people. But that's not enough if you have to do it on a large scale. And then people are really, as I said, scattered all over. So you want viability. You want to be able to collect the products in large numbers as cheaply as possible. And there you will use perhaps a lot of synthetic material. And then you will say that, okay, this is biodegradable or this is something. Real sustainability has always been in the hands of the natural organic material users, which is the entire craft sector. It's always cotton or stone or wood or grass or earth. Everything is sustainable. Even the old natural dyeing processes that we used to have never polluted the water. Not only that, indigo is good for the skin. But
Right.
these were all forgotten because of chemical dye industries, corporations. So corporations may produce industrial indigo, but how much of that is not chemical, I don't really know. I'm not a scientist, I haven't studied the components. But I think India still, across the world, if you count anything at all worthwhile about India, it is the number of people, particularly in the craft sector and in agriculture, who use organic farming methods, who practice the most sustainable kinds of work anywhere in the world. So if anybody is ahead in climate change, it's India, but only naturally, not because it has been a policy. 25 years ago, I remember writing an article saying, why do we have to imitate the West of what they're doing immediately? This was when we were being told, eat Kellogg's and, never mind your ragi roti and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said that we have what the world is going to want 25, 30 years later. Why are we now trying to imitate them? All we have to do is leapfrog over their processes. We'll find ourselves where we are now and where we should be. And I think today, the fact that practices have been retained in homes, the whole Northeast, they do such wonderful, what you can maybe call jugaad in things with bamboo, water pipes, ladles, tea strainers, houses, flooring, everything, walls, everything is done out of bamboo slats. Like that, you go to any area, they will use that. The Badoi basket is with a natural grass that grows around the fields, around water bodies after the monsoon. So they go after the monsoon, this grass is growing, flourishing, and they go and take it from there and dye it and make their baskets. So they use nature, they're close to nature. They understand when to pluck things, when to cut things. Now, if we don't respect that basic knowledge and wisdom that they have, even if they've never been to school, we are going to only do lip service to climate change or sustainability. So I think the young people must understand and respect the craftsperson and that craftsperson's environment and living methods also. Take in Manipur, a farmer will have fish in his rice fields. He will have pineapple, jackfruit, banana trees. He'll have chicken. He'll have pigs. He'll have also making baskets, and his wife will be weaving. Now, how much more self-sustained can you be? That is real Atmanirbharta.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling that if we respect that Atmanirbharta, gives them access to what they lack, it's more important. But I feel unnecessarily or sadly, the whole world, not just India, but we kind of get swept into the whole thing of what everybody else is doing. They want everything large and in bulk. Whereas I say we have millions and millions of small and wonderful. Just aggregate those rather than try to put something on them which is not part of their culture or lifestyle.
Absolutely. Quality over quantity.
Yes.
All right. So, ma'am, so you've talked about how you don't want it to be this industry that's just mass producing the same product that the artisans may not relate with or that is not related to their history. So, do you also think that technology has a role to play in this? And that since India is one of the biggest IT exporters in the world, that we could have technology, sustainability come into the handicrafts industry and create, say, $1 billion opportunity for the artisans in a very sustainable and profitable manner?
There are three parts to this, three areas. One is the IT industry of digitization and computer knowledge for the craftsperson, which can give very good inputs on design, on colorways, color selection, design education, even the graphs which they used to make by hand, they can make by computer now to weave saris. If they have that access, they can work faster. Of course, there is the graph drawing person, but the drawing person can certainly be part of that process. If the drawing person keeps his drawings, but also learns the graph making on the computer, he doesn't get displaced. So there's one benefit of the computer, also to reach out to customers, to get orders. I know that in Kutch, just after the earthquake, the computer helped our craftspeople still contact their customers in Canada and show them pieces of cloth and say, these are the latest swatches, do you want to order? So there's a lot of access to the market, the e-commerce that's going on. These two things are fine. But there is the production element. The production element has not had enough appropriate technology, meaning remove and bring little machines, specially adopted to removing drudgery. China has done that, but in China they do it under factory conditions, assembly line. They shove them into working hours which are not at all comfortable. They don't give them as much pay as we give our craftspeople can earn. So there is that flaw. But uh, Edward Schumacher used to talk about appropriate technology. All our IITs today can help um, to make that drudgery easier. For instance, even just cutting off thorns from stalks of plants that you want to weave.
Right.
When you have to grab the plant, it pokes your hands. If there is a machine that just you strip it like this, and the thorns fall off. Similarly, I mean, there are young boys in the village who have. There's one fellow who has invented um, an earpiece which only costs 70 rupees for the old men in his village who are deaf, whereas it costs about 1 lakh to get a hearing aid.
Right.
So there is innovation in the village. Somebody has to help him now multiply, make it, become an entrepreneur. So that little jugaad that he did in the village is still possible. But so we need all those kind of inputs wherever there is a problem, a delay, an obstacle towards producing more, if there is some mechanized activity that can help them get over that, then you will be producing more, which is what you want. And that is where hands-on technology comes in. The IITs, the engineers, even designers, textile engineers, all these people have that role. So as I said, there are three components: using by the craftsperson, the digital world, marketing, digital world, but this actual production of a high quality, good piece is what requires actual input technologically.